Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about From Season 4, Episode 2, Fray. So, this episode was a bit more engaging, and things that happened in this episode I felt should have happened in the first episode, because now we get, well, not so much answers, but we get more intrigue and everything. And that's the thing that keeps this show going, the intrigue, the mystery, like what's going on, the human interaction once they find out certain information and stuff like that, certain reveals. So, even though this episode didn't have that much like spine tingling stuff, at least, the characters interacted a heck of a lot more. And now they know certain things that happen, like Jim's body and everything, which was really messed up. Like, that discovery was heartbreaking. Man, I got teary eyed. I gotta admit, Jim might not be the best character on the show, but he was a character I liked. And now his family has to live without him and everything, and what was so upsetting about that was the way they found out. That was just heartbreaking and everything. And so, okay, to recap this episode. So Boyd is still at Colony House and everything, and as he's leaving, well, at some point in the episode, he has a conversation with Elgin, and you really think that he's gonna tie Elgin up because you see him with like a phone cord and he's like rolling it up, and he tells Elgin like, come back here, like, the people in this house, they can't find out what happened to you and everything, and like they must never find out. And so you think he's gonna hold him captive in a room, but he doesn't. So that was a nice little fake out. But he basically tells him, plain and simple, if anybody asks what happened to your hand and what happened to your eye, you better say one of those monsters got you, as you were trying to save Fatma. Because if you don't, I'm gonna lie and say you killed Trudy, even though Fatma was the one who killed her, and I'm gonna put you in the box. And remember, the box is very easy to get to, and there's no talisman, and the monsters will rip you apart. Like that man from the first episode of season 1. And Elgin's like, okay, but then he's all like, but what if I don't? I'm thinking, holy crap, he's back talking to Boyd. Like, he just doesn't give a crap no more because of what happened to him. And so that's when Boyd tells him, I'll put you in the box and this and that. And then he's all like, all right, fine, I'll go along with it. But people are going to find out the truth one way or another. And then when it comes to Elgin, it's kind of hard. Like, you feel sorry for him because he got manipulated by the beings of like this area town. But unlike Sarah, is kind of like he needs to take responsibility for what he did. You know what I'm saying? Like, in his mind, he still thinks he did the right thing and everything, but he didn't. As he can see, he is still stuck in town and everything. So on one hand, I feel bad for him, but the other hand, he needs to take responsibility and stuff. And that's gotta suck to go the rest of like 2 more seasons with that like no eye type thing and everything. But as Boyd is about to leave, like, the building and everything, he sees something and he gets some binoculars. And there he sees a bag hanging from like the hotel. So it's this big dramatic moment and everybody's going out to see what's in the bag. And Boyd, he's worried because he knows Jim has not come back yet. And Tabitha is worried. She's finally now worried. Like, where was that in episode 1? But she's finally worried because she fears the worst, And her kids are running out, determined to find out what that is. Ethan just pushes her aside to run out there and everything. So as they're slowly opening the bag, it's a goat. It's a goat and everything. It's like, oh, thank God they don't have to find out Jim's body's in the bag. However, then you hear the screams. See, as Julie and Ethan went to go to the barn because their mom made them leave because she didn't want them to find out like what's in the bag. They go in the barn and you don't see nothing at first. You just see them upset, crying and screaming. So you know what it has to be. It's Jim's dead body hanging upside down as like his inside near his gut have been ripped out. And I'm just kind of like, no, man. Like, the man in yellow left him to be ripped up by those people, and they hung that man upside down. And his kids had to find out that way. Like, that was just horrible and stuff. Like, it was just traumatic to find your father like that. And Ethan, he's pissed, man. He's like breaking stuff in the house and like, he's talking about how much he hated here and all this other stuff. And then he tells his mom, I hate this house. I hate it here. I want to go home and I hate you. I want dad and everything. And we've never seen this side from Ethan. So this is some good character development from him. But I didn't know he was that attached to his father and stuff. But yeah, he literally says he hates his mom. But why does he hate his mom? Does he feel... Well, he said that those two are always arguing and everything. So I guess he blames her for, like, always getting mad at his father when his father's always trying to do the right thing. Or trying to figure stuff out, at least in the season 1. But his mom is also trying to figure stuff out. But remember, she left them and everything to try to find a way out of here. So I guess he feels like abandoned or something like that. Also, we get an interaction with Jade and that of Tabitha, finally, because this is something that should have happened in episode 1. She's trying to clean the message off of the barn that they left her, talking about knowledge comes with the cost and everything. So Jade feels like, okay, we are on to something and the stuff we discovered must be true and everything. Like, but she doesn't want to hear none of that. She talks about how she loves her husband, she misses her husband, but remember they was going through a divorce in season 1, which is why they took that road trip and then got stuck in the town. And since they've been there, those two have always argued, but loved each other, but argued and loved each other. So she's taking her frustration out on Jade now. Talking about like, stay away from me. This should have been you. You should have been the one to die. And it's just kind of like, man, this is just a hard thing to say. Like, it's getting hard to the point of liking Tabitha now. Like, yes, I get it. She's going through a traumatic time. She just found out she's been reincarnated multiple times. Multiple husbands, had multiple kids and everything. So that's something she still has to deal with. On top of that, in this new life and everything, her husband, who she, had a love-hate relationship with, is now finally dead, and her kids are grieving and everything. So I get why she's angry, but to take it out on Jay like that was just wrong and stuff. So Ellis and Boyd, they help Jay, get Jim's body out of there and take it to the church, where, Jay tells Boyd about the reincarnation stuff and this and that. And he wants like Jade to figure everything out, because they are close and they are on to something, and that something could help them escape. Sophia, technically the man in the yellow. So I've been wondering what the heck is going to happen with her after what, the revelation of episode 1. She leaves the door open, goes outside and starts panicking after she killed the pastor dude, hoping Kenny would run out, which he does, seeing a hysterical like Sophie. And here comes slowly the monster people just walking up and everything. I'm like, no, don't kill Kenny. His mom and his dad died from those monster things. And it's just like, come on, man, let Kenny live. And but this was just to lure them out. And of course, they are controlled by the man in the yellow, so they don't attack Kenny. And they go back inside, only for her to act super hysterical. And it's so weird because we know exactly who Sophia is, but she's acting like an actual real person and everything. And sometimes I'm now wondering, should this reveal happen later on in the season? I get it, they needed something big for episode 1 because episode 1 was really boring and everything. But like, this reveal should have happened much later in the season. So he was going to help her get some new glasses, but instead Sarah does. And for whatever reason, he didn't want Sarah to like associate with her. And that's because he still kind of doesn't really trust her all that well because, you know, she killed the father or allowed his father to die and stuff like that. And so we don't get much of Sarah in this episode, but she does have like a nice little conversation with pretend Sophia and everything, picking out glasses. And Sophia tells her, like, you know, all these items that like people who have died and left behind, keeping them here is kind of like keep you connected to them and everything. And it's just kind of like, man, the man in yellow really plays people's like heartstrings and stuff. And you want to believe this is a real person saying real nice, genuine things, but you know it's not. So as for Danny, she has finally started putting on regular clothes, just an ugly little sweater and everything. But you know, she kept her pants uniform on and belt and stuff like that. She has finally snapped. And I mean snapped. She's just like, screw it, she's getting out of here. So she steals the ambulance and everything. And Christy tries to stop her by hopping in. And she just takes off. And she keeps going in a loop over and over and over, trying to escape this place. Not thinking rationally, not thinking logically. Like, she's just like, she's lost it. She thinks that she can drive out of this place and as fast as possible, then she can escape this place, but she can't. And I was really hoping this was going to build to something. Like maybe there'll be an accident to where she'll almost hit somebody or hit somebody and then she'll like snap out of it, you know. But no matter what, like she's not, and she's going faster and faster as she keeps going in a loop. The conversation that her and Christy are having isn't really that big or dramatic. I wish it was, but it's not. And the only reason why Christy's there because they had to give her something to do, you know what I'm saying? And so like so Boyd and what's that woman name from Goosebumps in the It movie, Donna and everything. They just gonna put the spike strip down and everything, and Donna doesn't really have much to do, and Donna is so laid back this season. She's not really controlling Colony House. She's not being her grumpy self or nothing like that. And so when they pass the road, they see Ethan in the road and he's going off into the woods because he's ran off from home and everything. And so the cop lady won't even stop for a little boy. And Chrissy's all like, he's just a little kid and everything, you know. She don't care. Well, eventually she hits the spike strip and Boyd just puts her in handcuffs. And it's funny seeing a cop get arrested by a former like military cop and everything. And she just takes it. Like she just lost all hope and everything. But of course they let, you know, Christy lets her them know that, you know, Ethan's out there. So they go look for Ethan, but we don't see them actually search. And so then we get Julie, and she takes Scarface along with her. I forget Scarface's name, that really grumpy guy from season 2. Randall, that's it. And so she wants to try and, you know, do that time traveling thing. So they go to the ruins and everything, and when he goes through it, nothing happens. She tells him that, you know, she need to make sure that he won't be affected by the time travel thing because he needs to be the one to pull her out in case, you know, things go south. And she tells him, even if things look bad, just don't pull me out and everything. So she goes through it, and somehow she does time travel, and she goes to a period in time. I believe this is season 1 in the earlier episodes when Ethan was hurt in the RV crash and then the monsters come out. I believe that's when it is. And she calls out for her dad, but he doesn't hear her. Either because, like, he was in the RV, or for whatever reason, they just can't see her. And the monsters are coming to get, like, Boyd, Jim, and Donna and everything from the past. But one of the monsters grabs Julie and everything, and they are straight up about to kill her. So yes, when she does time travel, she can be affected by whatever happens and everything. And so she's just like, about to be devoured. But in the present day, she's twitching on the ground, and Randall has no idea what to do because, she said, when things go bad, don't like pull her out. But in the past, she's screaming for Randall to help her, but he can't hear in the present because all she does is twitch. She doesn't make no noise and everything. So he goes with his instinct and he pulls her out moments as she's about to be ripped apart and everything. But the fact that she can time travel is really cool. But is she able to control her destination? We just don't know yet. And then there's Ethan. I was wondering what he was going to do. And he hasn't talked to Victor yet. The scene with Victor isn't really that big. So there's no point really going into that. It's just him going like his nutty self and his dad's trying to calm him down. But like Ethan goes back to the RV and we see he takes like a radio and something else. I'm all like, please tell me they're not about to make this boy into MacGyver. How does he know how to rig stuff? You know what I'm saying? But when he comes out, he sees Jim and he gives him a hug. I'm thinking to myself, could this be the man in yellow? Like, I hope not. And so, but they have a really legit, nice conversation and everything. And he tells Ethan, like, do you remember that thing you was researching before we got into the crash? The Lake of Tears or something like that. And so he tells, like, Ethan, find that. It's real. You have to find the Lake of Tears. And then Ethan's mom calls out to him. He turns around and Jim is now gone. And it's just kind of like, is this Jim's ghost? You know what I'm saying? Or is it a hallucination? We've seen hallucinations before with people. Father Kadri, the black dude who used to run the diner and everything, the bar. People have had legit conversations with hallucinations like they were real. But it makes me wonder, are these people, I don't think they're really the ghost of these people, because if they were, they would have completely different conversations with them. Maybe they're an echo of who used to have that body or something. I don't know. But for whatever reason, it's not the man in yellow, because in order for it to be him, he has to literally transform, and it's pretty painful. Not to mention, he just can't appear and disappear. He has to actually travel on foot. And so then we just see Ethan embrace his mom with a hug, and it ends. So there was some really nice stuff that actually happened in this episode that I wish could have happened in the season premiere. Like, seriously, when you have a season premiere, it's supposed to be a banger and everything. But the first episode was just kind of dull and a little boring. But for the most part, even though a lot of cool stuff didn't happen here, at least, we got more interaction with people and some answers here and there. You know what I'm saying? So that was nice. There's no follow-up as to why objects was flying around Tabitha's house and stuff. So they never revealed that just yet. But, I can't wait for like the third episode. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.